Hi guys, welcome back. Happy Saturday. Hope everybody's doing well. So I'm looking a little, a little funky. I want to try this technique, show you guys this new technique that I learned, and it's from, his name is Jordan. I can't think of his last name, but I'll put it down in the description box. But so this is supposed to give you a flawless base to where when you go in with your products, your foundation, and all your other stuff, you're not going to have to set a lot. A lot of girls and boys bake, but they said that's supposed to prevent you from having to bake. But personally, I think baking, when they put a shit ton of concealer on under their eyes and everywhere, it basically covers up their whole foundation, which is kind of just, it's not annoying. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't affect me, obviously, but you might as well just put concealer on your face. And any Dollar Tree foundation or any cheap foundation, because when you go in with a ton of powder and you're baking your under eyes and you're baking right here and you're totally disrupting the whole look of what the foundation is supposed to be, whether it's dewy or matte or glowy or natural. The amount of powder that people are using is ridiculous. Like, it's in a ridiculous amount of powder. But I mean, personal preference. If you want to look like a powdered donut, hey, by all means, I'm gonna go in with my Bobbi Brown hydrating face cream, and this is step one. I've already obviously done my skincare, but this is step one, is moisturize. I mean, obviously you're going to moisturize, but this is just the steps of this technique. Now, I don't bake, I got mature skin, and I think even if I didn't have mature skin, I don't think I would bake, because I really want my foundation and everything that I'm putting on my face to, it's there for a reason. Like, it's foundation for a reason. Concealer's supposed to just conceal darkness, redness, hyperpigmentation, all that stuff. But I mean, to each his own, I'm gonna go in with the Ciate setting powder, translucent powder, because it is super finely milled, and although I'm sure I have others that are finely milled, I'm going to go in with this stippling brush, and now I'm going to set that moisturizer. This is step two, by the way. Setting the moisturizer. Step three, setting spray. I'm going to go in with my Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray. You can go in with whatever setting spray that you fancy. I'm just using this one because this has a little bit more grip and staying power. It smells like crap. I was watching a girl that said, "This smells amazing." This does not smell amazing. That's scary that she said it smells amazing, because that means that she likes funky smells. Like, you might as well smell somebody's, it just stinks. Okay, setting spray. So now this is like a whole backwards thing. So this is what we're doing, is you're putting all your setting stuff underneath your foundation. So your foundation, everything, so your base is already set. So your foundation doesn't have to work, so when you put your foundation on, obviously you put a primer on, and then you put your foundation over that. Now your foundation, and then you put powder on top of the foundation. You're like putting cream, like okay, your primer, then you're putting powder, then you're putting cream foundation liquid over the powder, or over the primer, and then you're putting a powder on top of that, and it's just making like a cakey consistency, and this is supposed to prevent that. Okay, so now we're going to go in with the primer, and I'm going to go in with my Milk Cosmetics Hydro Grip Primer. You can use whatever primer you want. Do I want to use this one? Actually, I think I'm going to go in with my Tatcha Silk Canvas Primer. And you want to use your fingers for this. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I use a brush to put my primer on, and I'm just literally going to kind of like put it where I have like larger pores. Little on my nose, because sometimes we lose coverage right here. This smells so good. This is like one of my favorite primers, if not my favorite. I love Tatcha products. I mean, they're amazing. I think everybody can agree. They're just so feminine and just so hydrating. They just smell amazing. I love them. Okay, so the primer obviously is the last step before your foundation. Okay. I don't know. We'll see. Now I'm going to go in with my Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place makeup, and I'm trying to decide whether, I mean, the whole point of this is it's not supposed to move around, so I'm going to just do it the way I would normally put my foundation on, and I'm going to use it starting with this little buffing brush. This is a Luxie, it's kind of worn off, but it's a Luxie brush, and I'm going to just kind of buff that into my skin. Not too hard, just buffing it on. Now I can see why he would say the base looks pretty matte. Well, not this side right here, but you can tell it looks pretty matte. Like there's really not a lot of shine because you've already set your face. Now he did say that you could go in and after you're done, you know, doing your foundation and set lightly with some powder and a little bit of setting spray, because I mean, we are putting some cream product on. And if you want a really, really matte, or you really need your, you know, certain areas to stay in place, you obviously want to set a little bit. There's the train, right on time. I used to love hearing the train. Like, I don't know, I just like the whole, like, felt like you were like out in the country, which I kind of live in the country right now. I'm about 20 minutes away from the city. I know it sounds crazy, like I don't live on a farm or anything, but, and it's not like really way out in the country, which I kind of wished it was, because it's just so loud. And the train literally sounds like it's right outside my window. Now I like to buff it on with the brush, and then I'll go with the sponge. I have like an indentation right here because I went to wash my car earlier and I had sunglasses on. Although it's supposed to snow tonight, I think, going into tomorrow. I can't really tell if I got, looks pretty well covered. And I'm not going for super, I'm not gonna like, I do want to use this that I put on my little palette here though, because I don't like wasting product, and I still have some on my little palette, so I'm gonna try to just, you know, you guys know I want to disperse it so it doesn't go to waste. I'm gonna kind of just squeeze the brush right here and just go between my brows. Little between the cheek and gum area. I look like a geisha girl. Or is it geisha? It could just be the camera. I don't know. I just look really white. Or it could be my lighting too. I'm always wrestling with my lighting. Okay, well, I think I spent long enough on my foundation. I see how he talks about it giving you like a, almost like a finished, like after you powder and then after you set, it already looks like it's been powdered and set. Can you tell? Like personally, I think that's what it looks like. It looks like you've already powdered and set with spray, because you have technically moisturized, powdered, you set your powder, you set your moisturizer, then you use setting spray, then you use primer, then you go with your foundation. It looks pretty even and pretty matte, not like super dry or anything or cakey. I'm gonna add a little bit of concealer. I'm gonna color correct my under eye first. I should have done that first before I put my foundation on. I'm just using my It Cosmetics because you know it's my favorite. It's my jam. I always have like, it's kind of like bluish red right here. I mean, it's not too bad considering I am over 50. Could be worse. But I baby my skin. I baby the crap out of it. I hydrate it. I use really good products on it. Your base and your skincare is so, so important. You think just not sleeping in your makeup and washing your face at night and moisturizing it is like enough. I did put a little bit of sunscreen on, by the way, so I always forget that step when I'm talking about doing your skincare. I always forget to talk about sunscreen. Now I just prime my eyes with the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer in Eden. I love this eyeshadow primer. Oh my god. I know I'm very dramatic about stuff, but if you haven't tried this eyeshadow primer, I've talked about this before. Man, this is the best. If you don't want your eyeshadow to crease or go anywhere, and it just gives it such a nice even base. And I'm all about that base. About that base. About that base. No treble. You know that song. You know what I'm talking about. Now I'm going to set my eyelids. And I'm just doing this step just to do it because, I don't know. I don't even need to do this right now because we're talking about the base. I can't find my, it's probably right in front of me, but we'll just use any brush. I'm just going to set my eyelid. So I'm going to set it with my Laura Mercier. Totally an unnecessary step. I don't know why I just did that, but okay, now I'm going to go in with some concealer, and I think I'm going to use, what concealer am I going to use? The Huda? Yeah, I think I'm going to use my Huda, and I'm going to go in with the smallest amount. This is a technique also that I learned from James Welsh. Is, again, we like to go in really thick with our concealer, but I'm going to really try this, and it's really hard, I know, because I know the satisfaction of going in with a ton of concealer and then just getting your blender and just blending that out and just that feeling you get initially. But I'm going to do what Robert Welsch says to do, and he says to put just 2 dots here and a dot here, because we really only need to color correct and conceal. So 1, it's hard to tell with this because it's squeezed. 1, 2, 1, 2, oops, 1. Okay, and he likes to use his finger. I'm going to use my finger and then I'll tap it out or blend it out if I need to with my brush. But okay, so he says just tap, conceal, go down the side of your nose or wherever you normally, but don't take it all the way over yet. And this is supposed to also cut the creasing of like settling in your fine lines. This is supposed to cut that out quite a bit. Okay, so you see I didn't go all the way over. I just kind of stayed right here and right on the inner part of my eye. Inner under. Okay, now I'm going to go right here. I like to take it up the side. Generally what I would do with my concealer. Okay, and then you just take whatever product you have on your finger and you just tap all the way over. So you're getting that middle part, but not with a ton of concealer, just enough to conceal that under eye without adding a shit ton of concealer. See the difference? You really don't need a lot of concealer. It's just fun, I know. It's just, I mean, no one says there's no rules, but I mean, there are some like good suggestions and different techniques. I mean, you know, you don't want to make your under eyes, you know, look any older than what you really are, because our under eyes are so thin, and especially if you have mature skin, like less is more with everything. I'm just going to tap back and forth, back and forth. And it doesn't look cakey, it just doesn't look, it just looks just nice and concealed. Now I can see the whole, it looks healthy to me. It just looks really healthy. It's not like super over coverage, but it's covering and concealing all my redness, all my darkness, my little spots, my little brown spot right here. You can barely see that. And that's always my true test is, well, that's with full coverage foundation, is does this spot get covered? But I didn't go in with a ton of foundation just because the whole point was to get this new technique of setting your face before you put your foundation on. And I really like how the skin looks. I think it looks super set. It just looks set already, and I haven't even gone in with any powder. I am gonna lightly set my under eye, just like very lightly. Let me tap out any crease that might be there. And I'm gonna go in with a slightly damp sponge with using the Ciate powder. Tap into that and just go in and shake off all the excess. And then I'm gonna go like outer to inner, because you don't want powder, you don't want the majority of the powder to sit right here. You want it, again, less is more. And I'm just setting it because, lightly, because I am prone to a little bit more creasing. And I forgot to put my Smashbox concealer under eye primer on. See the difference? Like, this is a little bit shiny, a little bit, you can see a little bit of darkness still, but just the lightest amount of powder shake, 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 tap, tap. I really like this powder for if you want to lightly set your under eyes, because it is so finely milled. So, you know, we've got that thin skin and we don't want thick powder on it, because then it looks cakey and it just makes us look so much older than what we really are. I think it did a really good job of concealing and setting. Your skin looks set. I just can't believe how it looks. It looks like I put powder over my entire face. It looks like I put setting spray on my face already, and I didn't. Why? Because we set it before we went in with the foundation. So try this technique, you guys. I'm going to finish off the rest of my makeup and then come back. I'm going to add bronzer. I'm not going to add any powder. I would do it with you guys, but it'll take me 2 hours. But trust me, I'm not going to add any powder. I'm not even going to add any setting spray, because I lightly set my under eye, and this technique is supposed to prevent you from having to set. Again, if you want to add a little bit of powder, let's say you are like a grease pit right here, you can always go in when you're done and add a little bit of setting powder. That's what he said you could do to prevent from oil breaking through. But I'm going to just leave it, because I feel like it's just, it feels really soft, it feels silky, it doesn't feel heavy at all. I really like this technique. I mean, you can see for yourself how it made my skin look. It looks set. And I didn't set it. You saw? Okay, I'll be back. So I am finished with my makeup. I didn't do a ton of makeup today. I literally just went in with minimal makeup because I really just wanted to try this technique, and I love it. I love the technique. I didn't powder, I didn't set. If I was gonna be going out, you know, for an extended period, out on the town, like maybe going dancing or a function or whatever, a party, I would probably set a little bit extra. But because I'm not doing those things, I'm not gonna set. But I really, again, I like this technique because, again, it looks like you've already, my bronzer's a little bit intense right there. And then I just went in with a little bit of highlight. I did a cream shadow, just something really simple and subtle. I didn't do a liner, which makes my eyes look naked. And I didn't put anything on my lower lash line. So, and on my lips, I used my Huda, what shade do I have this in? Oh God. Okay, I'll link it down in the description because I can't read this at all. It's the, this one here. It's like a nude, mauve-y, but I can read the liner, okay? This is the Huda lip liner in Trophy Wife. So, and then I went on top of that just a little bit, just to try to plump your lips up a little and add a little shine. And I went in with my Soap and Glory Sexy Mother Pucker. This is one of my favorites among many, but I think that's it. I used my Tarte highlight. I used my Hoola bronzer, this original, the OG Hoola bronzer, and I used my Tarte Quad. And the eyeshadow I used is the L'Oreal, I believe this is L'Oreal. Is this the L'Oreal? Yeah, it's the L'Oreal Brilliant Eyes, and this is in the shade Blush Jewel. Blush Jewel. It's really pretty. So that's what I did. That's what I put on my face. So none of that stuff really mattered. You guys saw the foundation, Estee Lauder, and the Huda concealer in Cotton Candy. So again, these steps I'm going to continue to do. I'm just going to do my makeup this way like always. It's not difficult. It's just putting the steps that you would normally do at the end of your makeup at the beginning, and I mean that's it. So step number 1, moisturize. You know, treat your skin, obviously do your skincare, but then go last in with your moisturizer. Step number 2, set with your translucent powder, your favorite powder, whatever you set with. Set your moisturizer. That's step number 2. Step number 3, setting spray. Any setting spray, whatever you use, whatever your favorite is. There's not any particular setting spray, depending what your, you know, I like to use this Tarte Ready Set Radiant also. I have multiple, but that's one I like to use for a little bit of a glowy or dewier look. And then you go in with your primer. And so that's gonna be your 4th step, and then your foundation is going to be your 5th step. So this just gives you a long wear. This is supposed to extend the period of your makeup, your foundation, everything, your whole face. It's supposed to extend the wear of that. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. I'll leave his name, I cannot think of it. Anyway, I'll leave it down in the description box. Always don't forget to go read the description box, because you guys know I love to talk, but I also forget to say a lot. And so imagine that. Yeah, I do forget to say some things. So I always put it down in the description box. There's that little arrow thing. You click on that, like a little thing, in case you're like older and you're not familiar with like YouTube and how to read stuff, and go down to the comments. Just scroll all the way down, leave me a comment, question, suggestion, and let me know if you try this technique or if you have known about this technique before. I did know about the setting your face, putting your primer on, and then setting your primer. That part I knew. But this one is a completely different one, because your primer goes on last, and that's kind of weird, but I mean, you can see for yourself how pretty it really does make your skin. Gives it really a pretty, flawless, healthy looking base. I don't know. That's my opinion. So thank you guys so much for watching. Give this video a like, share my channels, subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye guys.